Hey y'all, it's Desiree and I'm back with another video. And for this video, I will be touching on a topic that's kind of taboo in the sense of it's an aspect of God, an aspect of intimate relationship with Him that a lot of people don't truly speak on. And I'm speaking about when God is the author of your pain, when God is the cause of your tears, cause of your affliction, when you know that you know that you know that you aren't being judged, that you aren't being rebuked, when you know it's only a part of your testimony, only a part of your faith journey, your faith walk in God, when you know that it's only a matter of you being pruned. A lot of people still have the mindset that, yeah, God may put you in the fire, but He's not going to let you stay there. God may put you in the fire, but only up to 3 business days. A lot of times we tend to rush the affliction and speak so highly and speak so much about the deliverance, but we fail to truly take advantage of and truly dissect the affliction itself, the fire itself. We still have that same type of Pharisee attitude, Pharisee spirit towards afflicted people, in the sense of, in the biblical days, to be afflicted was bottom of the barrel. Afflicted people were seen as sinful. They were seen as evil. I don't know what you did, but you got to be guilty of something because the Lord has afflicted you. And this same mindset has carried on up to this day. So much so that so many people find themselves in what feels like never-ending fires saying, Lord, what I do? Lord, why are you doing this to me? Like it was understandable if you wanted to test me, try me in this way a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months. I would have thought a couple of years would have been well past enough, but it's been 10, but it's been 20. And you're still testing me. You're still pruning me. I can tell that I'm still sitting in this same fire. In that same fire that once drew intimacy, that once drew compassion, that once drew comfort, can begin to now draw bitterness, can begin to now draw upset, depression, anger, hatred. Because nobody really talks about when you are truly fed up with the ways of God. Nobody truly talks about when you are fed up with your affliction. Sometimes having faith, sometimes being encouraged, sometimes trusting God is not enough to soothe the wounds of your affliction. We talk about fasting and this and that, and all of these things are good to combat warfare, to combat the attacks of the enemy. But what about those afflictions that you can't run from because they have been assigned to you since birth? What about those afflictions that can only leave at God's appointed timing? And sometimes that can feel like a love-hate relationship. Sometimes God can quickly go from your lover and your friend to you feeling like, can I even trust you? Do I even know you? Maybe I'm not as sure of you as I thought I was. But I just want this to be somebody's encouragement today that you are not crazy. You are not tripping. You are not wrong. You are not guilty for your emotions, for your feelings towards God, towards your affliction. God understands that we are human. God understands that you are not a robot. And to be honest with you, God understands that it's supposed to hurt, and hurt past what you feel is your capacity. That's where the gold is. That's where the magic moments are. The enemy was trying to come for Job. Job 2:4-6 says, skin for skin, Satan replied. A man would give all he has for his own life, but now stretch out your hands and strike his flesh and bones, and he will surely curse you to your face. The Lord said to Satan, very well then, he is in your hands, but you must spare his life. Why would God give Satan authority over a man who he's seen as upright, who he's seen as blessed, someone who God himself saw as blameless? Unless God was planning on using that affliction for Job's good. But to me, it doesn't sound like Satan was like, oh, I just want to touch him a little bit. I just kind of want to taunt him a little bit. I just kind of want to poke my finger at him a little bit. No, he wanted to take Job out. He didn't want to just see Job without his stuff. He wanted to see Job dead and gone. And this is the weight of your affliction. While God is trying to pull you into a new realm with him, trying to pull your best version out of you, the enemy is using this same affliction to cause you to curse God. For a long time, the story of Job truly confused me. I just didn't understand nothing. But at that time, I saw God as a God who won't allow you any harm, instead of seeing him as a God who protects you from harm. And one of the things that truly puzzled me the most is, why is it that God was mad at Job's friend and not Job when Job was talking real spicy? But not once did Job curse God. Not once did Job speak against God. Yes, Job spoke out of confusion. Yes, Job spoke out of ignorance. And overall, yes, Job spoke out of pain, out of grievance, out of suffering. But he never spoke ill of God. Through all the storm, through all the trials, he remembered the goodness of God, even through his turmoil. Job had no understanding or no perception that he was being tested, that he was being pruned. Or maybe he did, but just thought how a lot of us think. Have I not yet shown myself worthy? Have I not yet shown that I trust you? Have I not yet shown that I love you? But an intimate relationship with God is not about meeting checkpoints. God is not waiting to check you off the list. There isn't any arrival times, arrival points. You're not sitting back waiting to be approved. God is drawing you into him. God was drawing Job into him. God wanted Job to know him for himself. He didn't just want him to be an obedient man. He didn't just want him to be a faithful man. God desired a true intimate relationship with Job. God wanted Job to know him for himself. And in the end, Job walked out of that season with more than he walked into that season with. Sometimes it is God's fault. Sometimes it's not your fault that you're struggling. Sometimes it's not your fault that you're broke. Sometimes it's not your fault that you're sad. Sometimes the tears that you keep crying every night are not because of anything that you've done, and simply because of the affliction that God has laid on you, the heavy affliction, an affliction that bursts the spirit of long suffering. But in God's eyes, what we deem as a curse is always seen as a blessing. I know a lot of y'all have spent a lifetime looking around saying, it doesn't seem like anybody else is really going through it the way that I'm going through it. And it brought about negative emotions. It caused you to view yourself, view your life negatively. It caused you to feel outcasted. But what if I told you that God-ordained affliction is a clear indication of God's love for you, of God's mercy for you? The further God allows you to be pressed, the further God presses you into him. And this is not a video where I'm saying, oh, now that you've listened to this video, let it never bother you again. It shouldn't hurt anymore again. That's not what I'm saying. But the goal of this video is for you to see your affliction differently. As we drop further and further into the last days, the enemy is really coming for the lukewarm, and the wheat and the tares are being divided more swiftly than ever. You got to have a different type of relationship with God. That churchy 1-2 step, that's not going to cut it. That going to church on Sunday, picking up your Bible here and there, that's not going to cut it. Listening to sermons on the way to work, that's not going to cut it. You need a true intimate relationship with God in this time. Although the affliction is weighted down, although you are hard pressed, you carry something, you hold something so much more valuable than the time you may have lost, than the opportunities you may have thought you missed out on. And I'm reminded of that saying, stay ready to keep from getting ready. Listen, this is truly a spiritual climate where I'd rather be over-prepared than underprepared. I know you feel the tightness of that yoke. I know you feel the weight of the chain around your neck. I know that in the midst of your affliction, you are having a hard time seeing the goodness of God, seeing the love of God, the compassion of God, finding your joy in God. But take a moment and look around you and see all of the people who are drowning. I'd rather be hard pressed, knowing that I have a sure reward and knowing that I am in the right standing with God, than to be out here living my best life on my way to the pit. Being a follower of Christ is not always glamorous, it's not always fun, it's not always cute, it's not always vlog worthy, it's not always Instagram reel worthy, it's not always about having a fire testimony. It's about having an intimate relationship with God through the good and the bad. And when you recognize that, when you stop running from that, it allows you the opportunity to find God in the midst of your storm, in the midst of your tears, because it's in the nighttime that you feel God's true compassion. It's after you've cried out in anger, cried out in frustration, cried out in heaviness, saying, God, where are you? That he comes and comforts you again, that he comes and make your heart light again. It's in the night that you get to know his true healing power. It's the night that has a homeless man on the street corner whistling the praises of God. It's the night who has a woman whose child has just been diagnosed with cancer, singing and praising and thanking God in the parking lot. It's the night that produces extraordinary faith, extraordinary boldness in God that the day simply cannot bring. I cannot say that it'll be easy, but I can say that it'll be worth every single tear. I can say that it'll be worth every single bout of confusion. I can say it'll be worth every sleepless night. It'll be worth every no you heard. It'll be worth every rejection. It'll be worth the years. It'll be worth the pain. It'll be worth the mockery, the scoffing, and persecution. It'll be worth your family turning their back on you. It'll be worth having to go about it alone. It'll be worth you standing up when everybody else sat down. Because when I look back over my affliction, it was good. It broke me, then it put me back together again. Sometimes it is God's fault. And in that, you can give him all of your tears while giving him all the glory.